Welcome to Pod Me If You Can. Lloyd, what have you got for us?
The movie I chose for this week's review is The Hole, starring Keira Knightley and Thora Birch.
Pardon me if you can. Movie reviews.
The film came out in 2001. A young girl, bloody and almost possessed-like, walks through an empty school. She picks up a telephone, dials and screams into it. She falls and crawls into a ball and rocks back and forth. The girl is interviewed by a psychologist and she tells her the grim story. Her and 3 of her school friends decide to hide in a long-abandoned World War II bomb shelter to party and hang out. But when someone locks them in, anxious hours turn into desperate days, and their spontaneous adventure turns into a bloody fight for survival. What happened and how she got out is, of course, the driving force of the movie. It depicts, it almost takes like a Rashomon style approach where we see different points of view of the same situation play out. The film also has stars such as Keira Knightley in her first starring role, and she has a lot of she shows a lot of incredible talent, and she has a lot of nerve, as this is her first full frontal nude scene. The film also stars Embeth Davidtz, the beauty from Army of Darkness for all you horror fans. I'm trying not to give away because there is a big twist at the end, and there are some great shots in this movie, some fine editing and some really good use of music. But the biggest letdown of this film, I'd say, is Thora Birch. Apparently she received a much publicized 7-figure salary for her then recent role in American Beauty. The thing about it is the script had many plot holes, get it? And it was just too beyond the character here. Like, it demanded a lot of duality to the role that Thora Birch just didn't pull off. She played the school outcast, like, pretty well, but then there was a segment where she had to be the school alpha female, and I think she just failed that completely. It was just too beyond her here. On top of that, she had to do it all in a British accent, which to my ears sounded fine, but to a lot of reviews I read, especially British people, they said it was really horrible. The twists at this movie were really obvious, really predictable and tiresome, and when they came, I just didn't care, mainly because I just wasn't invested in the characters. What made this seem to stretch on and on is when the film decided to retell the scenario from different points of view. So it sort of restarts a few times with almost completely different characterization. So this method, I think, works great if you can pull it off. Films such as Akira Kurosawa's masterpiece Rashomon, one of the greatest films ever made, is just one example. But this film didn't pull that off, mainly because of the weak script, and in my opinion, Thora Birch, I think the character was just beyond her here. She just couldn't pull it off. None of the characters I was invested in, so when the film played its biggest cards, I just didn't care. Yes, it was a big twist at the end, but to be honest, my eyes were rolling. If you're a fan of Keira Knightley, you should definitely check this out, as this is her first starring role and she does show a lot of talent, and of course there's full frontal nudity of her. There's also a really cool scene where she walks into the boys' showers confidently and we see full frontal nudity of young male guys, which highlights a big difference, a big cultural difference of European teen thrillers and American teen thrillers. One big mistake the film makes right at the beginning of the film, when Thora Birch walks into the school, picks up the phone and screams into it, she clearly dials 911 when the emergency code for the UK is 999.
Little things that are sure to annoy people in this film.
Yeah.
Thora Birch is a bit of an outcast in American Beauty as well. So
yeah, it was familiar territory for her, but I think the British accent was a bit hard for her to tackle. But she sounded fine to me, but a lot of reviews I read, they said it was pretty bad.
I have heard about this film. I haven't seen it, but the reason I guess I've heard about it is it keeps popping up in whenever they've got like BuzzFeed and things like that, where the click-throughs, where it's like nudity amongst celebrities and stuff like that. Often there's been a picture of Keira Knightley and I've thought, oh, she was nude in the jacket, but that's not what this picture is, and it's from The Hole.
Yeah.
So it's infamous for that, I suppose, which is something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so wouldn't recommend it because the twists aren't strong as well?
Yeah, the twists aren't strong and pretty predictable, and I think it was marketed really poorly. I think people were expecting this full-on teen horror movie when it turns out to be the psychological thriller, and not a very good one as well. Yeah.
All right, well, you can find more obscure films with famous people in them at our YouTube channel, and more from us at www.podmeifyoucan.com.
Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Check out our podcast at www.podmeifyoucan.com.